Welcome to the Hockey Writers Blackhawks Banter, a weekly show with our top Chicago Blackhawks writing crew, bringing you the latest news, rumors, trades, player grades, game results, and much more. From training camp to the playoffs, from Chelsea Dagger to the Madhouse on Madison, our team covers everything that happens with the Hawks. So get comfortable, grab a beverage. It's time for some Blackhawks Banter. Blackhawks Banter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blackhawks Banter presented by the Hockey Writers. I'm your host for today, Brooke LoFurno, joined by my colleague, Gail Kauchak, and our blast from the past. We're getting the band back together with Greg Boysen, who is now the lead podcaster for CHGO Blackhawks. You can find all of their content on YouTube, on Twitter. You guys check it out. It's amazing. And we're so excited to have you back today because we have a lot to talk about in Blackhawks land with the draft coming up. News and rumors are just flying, so we got to get right into it. We're really excited about this. So to start things off, we have to talk about the two main stories that are happening out of Chicago right now, which is the head coach and Alex DeBrincat. So we're going to start with the head coach. The Blackhawks gave a 4-year, $1.5 million a year contract to the Montreal Canadiens assistant head coach, Luke Richardson. The Blackhawks made it official on June 27th. So we got to talk about this, guys. Greg, you had the opportunity to speak with him, meet him in person for your CHGO podcast. Obviously, it's different when you're listening to someone than when you're actually meeting them in person, when you're actually talking to them face to face. So I guess I want to know, what was your first impression of him? What was he like?
Luke Richardson is an impressive individual. He has a presence, and that's something that Kyle Davidson mentioned. That was something Derek King, when we had him on our show, said that he lacked. He didn't have that presence when he entered a room. It's something he needed to get, which was very candid and honest from him. Luke Richardson has that. If you would have just put a picture of Luke Richardson and I had no idea who he was, or I wasn't a hockey writer, and you put a picture of him up there, I'd be like, that guy plays hockey. Like, that's a hockey guy, right? Because he just has that. But he has that presence. He demands respect just by the way he presents himself. But I think the biggest takeaway I have for having him sit down and chat with us for half an hour is he's so calm. This is a guy that played 21 seasons in the NHL. He's got scars on his face to prove it. He was a tough guy. He was a guy that was willing to do the dirty work. And he played in the 80s and 90s when the game was much different. He had to go battle guys like Bob Probert and Ty Domi to make a living. And he came out the other end and survived. So this is a guy that wasn't very calm on the ice, but he's got this calmness about him when he talks. Nothing seems to get him overly excited. And that's what you need for these next couple of years, these next painful couple of years that are ahead of us. You need a guy that when his team of young and inexperienced players are starting to see things fall apart, you can't have a head coach that lets that frustration get to him and come out behind the bench, because that's just going to seep into the players and make things even worse. You got to have a guy that is calm and says, okay, guys, no big deal. Let's just take a deep breath here. Let's get him on the next shift. I think he's got a great demeanor for a team that's rebuilding, but he's also a really good coach. When I wish we had more time with him, and hopefully we will. He started to get in the X's and O's, and you could tell that's what he wants to talk about. He wants to talk about that. And he really couldn't dive too much into it because he doesn't know who his roster is yet, but he seems like a guy that is not going to have his system and make you fit it. He's going to build his system around what he has. He mentioned stuff like that multiple times in his introduction press conference and when he sat down with us at CHGO. He's a guy that's going to make adjustments based on what he has, and that is a refreshing change of pace than what we had to deal with Jeremy Colleton for those 3 seasons, where it was like, this is how we do it, and I don't care if you can't do it, you got to do it. He even said man-on-man defense is dumb. You shouldn't play it in the NHL, especially with a young team. So you're going to have a guy that's going to be able to adjust and build his team, his system around his roster, whether other than the other way around, which can get you in trouble. So very optimistic right now from first impressions. Obviously, there's a lot of things he has to do before the final judgment can come out, but so far so good.
Yes. I love that you got to meet him personally and get that kind of firsthand information. Because like I said, it is different from when you're viewing someone from afar. But when you talk to them and can see what they're really like, what their personality is, how they speak, that really helps a lot. Especially when we're talking about a coach that helps determine what they could be for sure. And Gail, I'm excited because you recently wrote a getting to know Luke Richardson post for Blackhawk fans. Everyone check that out on the hockeywriters.com if you want to know more about Luke Richardson. She's got some fun facts in there about him. So when you were writing that article, is there anything that stuck out to you about Luke?
Well, yeah, my article actually had lots and lots of quotes from Dallas Eakins, head coach of Anaheim Ducks, and our very own Eddie Olczyk. Both of them played with Richardson. There's quotes from players, including ex-Blackhawk Andrew Shaw. And the basic theme is Richardson's ability to just keep players positive, but also to hold them accountable. One of the players said he taps into the player's specific talents and gets the best out of them. And right, those traits are all things that are sorely needed when it comes to a tough rebuild. So I feel like they have the right man for the job to a certain extent. And then one other thing I'd like to point out is I really like Richardson's stance when it comes to mental health. His daughter, Darren, committed suicide in November 2010, and she was only 14. And so no parent should ever have to deal with that. Obviously, I'm getting choked up right now. But he talks about that inner strength and fortitude that it took and the support that he had from the hockey community. And in his introductory press conference, he brought it up and he talks about how he plans to make sure that the players are heard and that he's really pleased with the emphasis that the Blackhawks are putting on mental health. I think he mentioned like 3 mental health professionals that are employed right now and that's or that are with the team and that's more than most teams. So he said he was impressed with that. And in the wake of everything with the Kyle Beach fallout, and this is just all really good to hear regarding the Blackhawks. And I think that they're taking it seriously. And I have no doubt that Luke Richardson is going to take this seriously. And so I feel like the players are in good hands in regards to their mental health. And let's face it, that's a pretty important department. And it's one that we should pay a little bit more attention to and moving forward.
Yes, very well said, Gail. I think it's one thing when you're a coach, when you're talking about the hockey aspect, what they can bring to the system, what their experience is, but also off the ice is just as important. What they will do to help change the culture of this team, which is sorely needed. I think that will have such a great impact on the Blackhawks and also off the ice too. Like you said, it's so important. It's not very talked about in the NHL, but he's going to make that a priority and that's really needed. So I guess my thing about Luke Richardson from Greg, I'm going to start with you about from your CHGO interview. Everyone check that out. It's on YouTube. It's a great interview. He really did open up a lot. How he did talk about trust among coaches and players. And I thought that stood out to me a lot because we've heard over the years, even with Derek King and Colleton, how there was such a mistrust between players and coaches for whatever reason. And obviously you're not going to have success when you don't trust who you're putting on the ice. So that to me, I thought stood out to me for sure. And like you said, and the other thing with Gail, with all your quotes, no one has a bad thing to say about this man.
Right.
It seems like no players, no coaches, people that he's worked with have nothing negative to say. And like, so that's kind of good to hear too. They're not like, I don't know about this guy. I don't know. Like they're actually being like, he's a great guy. He's a great fit for the Blackhawks. They got a good one. So that's good to hear. And I know, yeah, exactly. And I know we talk about how mostly coaches say all the right things and it's exciting during their press conference. Cause like you said, they do say all the right things and they make you excited. So I know that, but like I said, now he's got to show it, and I think he's got it. So I'm excited to see what he can do. That's all we can hope for with new coaches. See what you can do. Show us what you got.
Sure.
So I guess that brings us into the next question of, do you think that the Blackhawks made the right decision? I know that they had Kevin Weeks kind of leaked that they were hiring Ryan Huska, who was the Calgary Flames assistant coach. That turned out to be inaccurate, but so they had other options too. So do you guys think they made the right decision, Gail?
Yes, I do. There's obviously some bigger name coaches available out there than Richardson, but they might not have had the stomach for a rebuild. You talked about he's a lot cheaper than some of these higher paid coaches. which is a good thing in the rebuild too, to keep your options open there. But I just feel like this is a really great opportunity for somebody like Richardson, who's kind of been on the fringes as an assistant coach for so many years. And now he can take responsibility of his own team. And everybody seems to feel like he's ready. He's been assistant coach for a long time. And even though the team isn't very good or might not be for a while, I think for Richardson, that's all part of the challenge. So I think it's a really good fit.
Yes. Greg, what do you think? Did they make the right decision?
Yeah, for now. I mean, we obviously it's time will tell. 3-4 years from now, we could be like, I can't believe they did that. But I don't think that we're going to get that point based on who they were targeting. It seemed like it was just a 3-man race, and maybe it was just because of how impressive Richardson was. I mean, we know Derek King was in consideration. We know Brad Shaw was interviewed, and it was Luke Richardson. That was it. Like it might have been to the point where Kyle Davidson sat down with Luke Richardson and everything they told us about their meeting, where it was just like, that's the guy I want. I'm not going to bother with anybody else. And that's the right way to do it. If that's your guy, then you do it. And that's all I want out of Kyle Davidson going forward is have your plan and stick to it. If this is who fits your vision of your head coach, then go get him. And then we'll see if you were right or wrong. So that's all I want out of Kyle Davidson is have your vision and stick to that plan, even though it can get tempting to deviate here and there. Put the blinders on, stick to your vision, and go for it. So I think it's a good move. All you got to do is read about what they say about him in Montreal. Fans, players, coaches, they all are sad that he's no longer in Montreal. And the biggest reason he didn't get the job in Montreal when they made the coaching change this year is because he can't speak French very well. And that's a huge deal up there. You got to be able to speak French to deal with the media and everybody up there. So if he was fluent in French, he would be the Montreal Canadiens head coach there. So if he turns out to be a gem, you can thank him for not taking French in high school for him being here. As long as he knows how to correctly pronounce Jardinera, he's going to be fine in Chicago. So, but if you can win over the media and the fan base in Montreal as an assistant coach, you've really accomplished something, because that is a tough market to become beloved in, especially when you're not winning a whole lot. So when the Montreal media and fan base is in mourning because he's got the promotion to come to Chicago, that tells a lot right there. So he's a good character guy. And that's what this was what the franchise needs. They need good quality people, and they've got one with Luke Richardson.
Yes, for sure. When I think of Luke Richardson, I think of just how eager he is. I know, Gail, you touched on that a little bit already, but he's so eager to join a rebuild in a good way. Like, he's eager to help this team progress. That's what you want to see. You don't want to hear someone that's kind of like, it's a rebuild. Like, you want to see someone that's excited. Like, I have a lot to teach these guys. I have faith in these guys. Let's grow together. Let's win. Like, you want to see that attitude, and he's got that. So for that reason, I think he was a good pick. Like you said, time will tell if it was the right pick, but he seems like a good fit for sure. And he's been around a lot in Montreal. He's been around superstars with Carey Price and Shea Weber, and he's been around Stanley Cup finals with the Montreal. And then he's also dealt with the rebuild and the struggling times with Montreal. So he's seen a lot and he knows a lot. So that's what you want to see, knowledge and experience. I know it's not from a head coaching perspective, but someone's got to start somewhere. So hopefully it turns out to be a good fit. You never know where this could lead. So we'll see. But for right now, I do think it was a good choice for sure. He's got the character for sure. And he's also got the eagerness to help this team win. So I'm all for it. That's all you want to see, to be honest. So now we got our Luke Richardson out of us. Now we're going to move on. We're going to talk about what everyone's real excited to talk about here. Alex DeBrincat. Okay. Obviously, the trade rumors have been very rampant over the last few days, especially. I was actually worried that there might have been a trade yesterday before we were able to record. And I was like, oh, got to trade or got to remake this whole outline here. But he's still on the Blackhawks for right now. It's not something I don't think we ever thought we'd be discussing, but here we are. So I guess we have to talk about this. Elliot Friedman said that's building momentum and he foresees it happening. There's a lot of teams involved. It looks like the Flyers are involved. That's a big name or a big team right now. So I guess is trading DeBrincat the right move? Let's get right into this. Greg?
It depends. Okay, the trading DeBrincat just to trade Alex DeBrincat is not the right move.
Yeah.
Trading Alex DeBrincat to take a year off this rebuild, I'm okay with that. You don't trade Alex DeBrincat just to say you traded Alex DeBrincat and get the 23rd pick in this year's draft. You trade him to, as Elliot Friedman said, wreck a franchise. If a team is willing to give you the mother load, you take it. Look what you did with Brendan Hagel. You can argue right now, obviously time is going to tell, that the Blackhawks fleeced Tampa Bay for Brendan Hagel. Got 2 first-round picks, 2 NHL-ready players. Now, if that's what you can get for Brendan Hagel, what can you get for Alex DeBrincat? I'm not super worried about Kyle Davidson just trading him to trade him so he can get in the first round. But if you can get, like, you look at New Jersey, if you can get the number 2 overall pick this year, plus maybe a Dawson Mercer type player and maybe another first-round pick next year, you'd have 3 picks in the first round, including probably a top 3 pick in one of the deepest draft classes ever. And then you get a young player that could be on your opening night roster this year. That's pretty good. I love Alex DeBrincat. I'm not advocating to trade him, but if you get the haul that can take this from a 4 to 5 year process to a 3 to 4 year process, we've had 240 goal scoring seasons from Alex DeBrincat. What did it get us? A whole lot of nothing. So yes, he's a great player. And if you don't trade him, then you sign him long-term and you build around him. That's pretty good too. I'll take that as well. But you got to have more than Alex DeBrincat. You got to have an entire team, and trading him can help you build that complete team quicker than keeping him. Keeping him's not a bad move either. As long as you go ahead and you sign him to that big deal and you keep him here and you say, this is our guy, this is our future captain, this is who we're building around, I'm okay with that too. So there really is, the only wrong answer in this scenario is trading him just to trading and not getting value. But I don't think Kyle Davidson's going down that road. He's already proven, like, hey, I wasn't going to trade Brendan Hagel, but then this offer blew me away. I had to take it. I would have been dumb to say no to that. And he also had a guy everybody wanted traded, Calvin DeHaan, trade him for anything. And he said, I didn't get what I thought he was worth, so I decided not to trade him. That tells me he's not just going to panic and say, well, I have to trade Alex DeBrincat. If you're not giving me what I want, the Flyers could offer quite a bit. You got to make it worthwhile. If not, then you keep him here and you got a really great, exciting young player to build around. But you also got to remember, he'll be like 29 or 30 by the time this team is ready to compete again. So, you know, there's pros and cons to both sides of the story, but we'll see how it plays out.
You made a very good point about kind of his production and how the Blackhawks have still not made it. It's not his fault, but that's the name of the game in the NHL. You need a lot more than that. Like, look at Edmonton with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Phenomenal players, the way they produce, and they still weren't able to make it to the Stanley Cup. I mean, that's unfortunate. It's a tough league. You've
had some of Patrick Kane's best seasons as a pro, and it's got you nothing. Why? Because all you have is Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat. There's nothing else there, so you need more.
Right. I mean, I think we saw that with, I think, Taves, Kane, and DeBrincat all had career years, and they didn't make the playoffs. I mean, yeah unfortunately, that's just, you need depth. You need more than just those star players. But like I said, that's not a knock on DeBrincat. Like you said, it's just what it is right now. But Gail, what do you think? I know you have strong opinions on this, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this. Is trading DeBrincat the right move?
I'm in complete agreement with Greg. I don't have a whole lot to add to that. You know, I would say that definitely, I think that Davidson really is playing hardball and he's sticking to his guns, and he's only going to take a king's ransom for the most part for DeBrincat. And if he doesn't get that, then that's okay. You build around DeBrincat, right? So I think I had heard, I think Elliot Friedman said Blackhawks turned down an offer for 2 firsts, including a high first. So he's serious about this, right? And we'll see in the coming days if it happens. But if he does stay, then I think it's safe to say that Patrick Kane will still be around. And, you know, this could hurt them in the long run, but in the short term, during a rebuild when everybody else is going to maybe kind of stink a little bit, at least you're selling tickets with those two. And obviously, you know, we all, I think we're all in agreement that we would love to see DeBrincat stay around, just because we're going to be watching the Blackhawks, and it would be kind of fun to watch him continue to score goals and play with Patrick.
If
That's all I have to add.
If DeBrincat gets you the number 2 overall pick this year, and then you're bad enough to get Connor Bedard next year, that's a big win.
Agreed. Yeah. But he will do that if he has the chance. So
right.
That's what's so hard about this conversation is we all love DeBrincat. We all love watching him play. He's kind of made the last couple seasons bearable. And it stinks that we have to have this conversation. But at this point, anyone is movable in the league. I think that's kind of the tough reality is anyone is movable at the right price. And that includes DeBrincat. But I think Kyle Davidson's kind of in a fun position because he doesn't have to move him. DeBrincat's not asking or demanding for a trade. He's not in a position where he has to move him. So it's kind of fun for him to be like, well, I can just demand what I want at this point because I don't have to move him. So if you're
Davidson
a GM, that's kind of,
Davidson has all the leverage here.
Right.
And this is, again, something we're not used to here in Chicago. That your GM has the leverage, but he has all the leverage. He doesn't have to make a trade, just like you said, perfectly. But it's all on what the other team, how badly he can bend them over to get in this deal. Yeah.
And it's funny though, you mentioned that, I just wonder, like, what does Alex DeBrincat think about all this, right? Does he want to stay and be like the centerpiece of a rebuild, or does he want to go somewhere else, or is it a chance of winning sooner? I guess it doesn't really matter because they're going to do with what they will, but
yeah, exactly. He doesn't really have a say. I don't think. I think they're just like, we're going to do what's best for the team. But yeah, like I said, they don't have to move him, which is fun. And I think the Brandon Hagel trade really helped their case. They're like, well, we got 2 picks. I'll demand 3 for DeBrincat at this point. But so we'll see. But the fact that this talk keeps revving up, like Elliot Friedman has something new to report every day on this front. Like you said, teams get desperate around the draft. You might see some really like obscene package for DeBrincat. So like I said, it's not something like you said we're advocating for. We'd love for him to stick around. But like you said, if someone is offering you the world, you have to listen. And it doesn't matter which player we're talking about, even Patrick Kane. If someone's offering you the world, if he would choose to move, you got to listen. It's just what it is when you're in the rebuild. But the last thing I will say is because I'm in a complete agreement with everything you guys said, and I have really nothing more to add on that front. For the Blackhawk fans, I know that are probably jumping down Davidson's throat about this whole thing. Like, why would you even consider this? Why are you listening? He's not someone you trade. This is all because of he who should not be named. If he did not do what he did to this franchise, we would not be in this position where we would have to talk about this. So it's not Davidson's fault that he was put in this position where he has to talk about this or think about this. So just put this out there. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. Hard decisions have to be made. But like I said, it's not something we want to talk about, but we'll see for sure. So it is what it is. So I guess to add on to this, because we talked about what would be acceptable in a trade package or what we would look for if we were to move him or if Kyle Davidson were to move him. If you're Kyle Davidson, is trading him by the deadline specifically to get the first round pick a priority? Or do you think it should be pointed elsewhere? Are you trading him for a similar talent or something else? Gail, I'm going to start with you. Should that first round pick in this year's draft be a priority, or does it not matter? Just get the best package available.
Yeah, if you can get the right return, great. But right, like, and maybe I'm misunderstanding your question, but just as I stated above, there's also lots of positives with keeping DeBrincat. So I don't think it should be the top priority.
Yeah. Greg?
Is trading him a top priority? Necessarily no. But as far as you said, getting a first round pick in any trade, yes, it starts with a high top 5 first round pick this year. That's where it starts. And then you add a lot more. Yeah. Another you got to get maybe another first round pick next year in that draft. And then a player a young prospect, top prospect that should be Lucas Reichel or better that can play this year. And then another prospect that we can get in a couple of years. That's where it starts. If you're not going to offer me at least that, thanks for wasting your cell phone minutes. I'm ending this conversation right now. That's the only way that this deal gets done. So is trading DeBrincat a top priority? No, but getting a first round pick this year and a ton more, that is the priority. It starts there. And if you're not willing to offer that, then this conversation is over.
Yeah, I think Kyle Davidson even mentioned that it's very hard to rebuild without a first round pick in any draft. It's kind of a hard pill to swallow. So I do think he's prioritizing a first round pick, not just from DeBrincat's standpoint, I think from anyone's standpoint at this point. But yeah, like you said, I don't think that should be the priority for trading DeBrincat. I don't think that should be the priority, but I think the priority should be best package available, not exactly the first round. If you can get 10 first rounds for different year, whatever, just best package you can get, like you said, that will wreak havoc on another team. That's what should be the priority, not exactly just for this draft. If it takes after the draft to do it, fine, but I don't think you should force it just for this draft. Let's put it that way. Take your time. And like you said, if the right deal comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And like you said, then the Blackhawks are in a good position because they get to keep them. So we'll see, but I'm not really looking forward to these next couple of days on that front. I'm a little worried. Yeah. I'm not going to lie.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. So we cannot end our Blackhawks banter without doing our beloved shootout round. Now that Greg is here, yes, we get to add him to our shootout round again for nostalgic reasons. So, okay, guys, 5 questions. Number 1, we just talked about DeBrincat. Does he ultimately get traded? I said by the deadline, but I meant the draft. Does he get traded by the draft? Gail?
I don't think so. I'm going to say no.
Greg?
I'm going to say yes. I'm starting to get the feeling somebody's going to give Davidson what he wants.
Yeah, I hope Gail's right, but I'm going to say yes too. It seems like the ante is too high right now. Second, will the Blackhawks end up with the first round pick in the draft? This draft, Greg?
Well, if you trade Alex DeBrincat, yes. And even if you don't, I think he's going to find a way. He really wants to get in that first round. So it'll have to be worth it. But I think, yes, the Blackhawks will have a first round pick. And as someone who's going to be on the air for 3 hours during the first round, I really hope that they do.
Yeah. Gail?
Well, I already kind of stated I don't think they'll trade DeBrincat. So basically, I would say no for this. Yeah, I might know.
I think I said last week that I didn't really see a promising scenario where the Blackhawks will get a first round pick because they don't really have players that are worth a first round pick in a trade besides DeBrincat. Didn't think DeBrincat would get moved, but now I'm starting to think it's a serious possibility that he will get moved. So I'm going to stay.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I would just say I would be surprised. I would be interested if it's not DeBrincat, how they're going to get a first round pick.
Yeah.
Like how they make that happen.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I will say, because I just said that I think DeBrincat will get moved, that I do think they'll end up with that first round pick. It's hard, guys. I know it's painful, but it is what it is. Okay, third question of the shootout. Will we see an improved team and system under Richardson? Gail?
Yes, I believe so. I like what he brings to the table. I like his ideas about defense, and I am actually going to go back and listen to your show, the CHGO show where he was interviewed, because I'm just really intrigued with kind of his ideas on defense. I'm excited to see how that all plays out this year.
Defense is important. We know this now. Greg, what do you think? Will we see an improved team? It might not be Stanley Cup caliber yet, but will we see an improved team and system under Richardson?
I'm going to go half and half. We'll see an improved system. We'll see a team that plays better. I don't think they're going to be improved because I don't think this roster is going to be very good. So they are they going to have more points than last year? No, you don't want them to. You want them to have a lot less to get one of those top 3 picks. But are they going to be better prepared and just losing because they're losing to better teams? Yes. So I think there will be a better playing team, but don't look for improvements in the standings. You don't want that right now.
Yep, that's what I would say too. I do think that they'll play better or play a more organized way than what we've seen, but I don't think they'll be better. And that's not Richardson's fault. Like you said, it's kind of just the way their roster is constructed. I think they might be like the Sabres, where the Sabres are not very good. They weren't very good last year, but they were at least watchable and had some fun aspects to their game. So I think that's where the Hawks might come in. They might have some fun parts to their game, but still might not be good. But that's better than, because we've seen some boring hockey the past few years. So I welcome that, to be honest with you. Okay, and because we did this last year and our viewers really seemed to enjoy it, it was Canada Day recently. So happy Canada Day to all of our Canadian viewers. So tell me a current Canadian player that you're fond of, any team, Blackhawks or any team. I know it's very hard to pick a Canadian player in this league because there's not so many of them. Greg?
Oh, there's no doubt. It's Cale Makar. This kid is he's the best player in the freaking game right now. He is a stud. He is a star. Just look what he did. He won the Norris, the Conn Smythe, and the Stanley Cup in the span of 3 days. He's going to win a Hart Trophy. He's going to win multiple Hart Trophies. I'm already predicting him to win the Hart Trophy this coming up season. I love Cale Makar, my favorite player in the NHL, hands down.
Oh, I love Cale Makar too. Good answer. Gail, who is your favorite Canadian, or who just is a player that you're fond of? Let's put it that way.
All right, I am going to go completely outside of the box here, and I'm going to pick a player not for what he does on the ice, but what he's doing off of it. I'd like to shout out to Canadian forward Curtis Gabriel. He was acquired by the Blackhawks in December of 2021. Only played 2 games with them, but he had a solid season with the Rockford Ice Hogs. So he's on my radar. And Curtis is just really vocal on Twitter for advocating for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender rights, and just equality and inclusiveness in general. And so he's become one of my favorites because he's not afraid to stand up for what he believes in and, kind of spread the word through his platform. And I have tons of fun and so don't regret following him on Twitter. So if you guys want to, I would recommend that as well for you. Like Curtis Gabriel.
Yes, that's another really good choice. I like it a lot. When I thought about this, I was going to say Cale Makar too, but I figured someone was going to say that. But do you know what? I will go with another player that I've always been very fond of, and that's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the Oilers. He was someone when he hit free agency that I was hoping the Blackhawks would target. But obviously he re-signed with the Oilers. I just love the way he plays. I just think he's a solid, good player. So I've always liked him a lot. Every time the Blackhawks face the Oilers and I see him, I'm always like, dang it, I wish he was on the Blackhawks. So I'm going to go with him for Canada Day. And lastly, because it's the 4th of July and we're all dressed up in our patriotic gear today, who is an American player that you're very fond of at the moment? Gail, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to go with the easy answer here because I'm going to sure miss him. I'm going to just pick DeBrincat. Alex DeBrincat. I'm going to miss that smile. I'm going to miss his goals if he leaves.
He hasn't been traded yet, Gail. He's still a Blackhawk. He's not dead. Jeez, he's still alive.
That's a good point.
He'll be smiling no matter where he's playing next year. You'll still be able to enjoy it.
It's fun if it's out of the Blackhawks.
That's funny. But either way, good choice. Alex DeBrincat is a very good American player. Greg, what about you?
Well, you reminded me last year I picked Quinn Hughes. I still love Quinn Hughes, but he's been surpassed. There's another young gentleman that I really love watching play, and that's Trevor Zegras with the I almost said the Mighty Ducks, the Anaheim Ducks. I love this kid, tremendous talent, and any player that can come in the NHL and piss off old crusty hockey guys, I'm an immediate fan. When you got John Tortorella and his ilk saying, "Hey, you get punched in your face in my day," I love you. Keep doing the Michigan move. Keep shoving it in their faces. It's not the 1970s anymore. It's 2022, and we like to have fun, damn it. So I'm all about Trevor Zegras.
Good job.
Yes, case dismissed. I love it. Yes, Trevor Zegras really did change the foundation of the league last year with that Michigan goal. Everyone was trying to do it after he did it, but no one can do it as good as he did, to be honest with you. Good choice. I'm actually going to follow up on that with another younger player. I'm going to go Montreal Canadiens, Cole Caulfield. I just love that guy. Wisconsin Badger. I know Gail, but he's kind of like DeBrincat in that way that he's.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
Yeah. Goal scorer. I know that some people were calling him Goal Caulfield. I think he could have a really good season next year. So I really like his game too. So yeah, you got some really good young American players coming up the ranks here. I love to see it.
Oh, USA.
Woo! Okay. So that will end our show for today. hopefully by the time that this airs tomorrow, that Alex DeBrincat will still be a Blackhawk, but unfortunately we can't say that for sure, and it's scary times. But thank you.
July news dump. Watch out.
Yeah, exactly. July news dump. Gail, Greg, thank you so much for joining us. Greg, we loved having you back. Thank you so much for doing this. Yeah. Please, like I said to our viewers, please check out the CHGO Blackhawks page and their podcasts. And we'll see you next week for our official draft recap. So good night, guys.